Hi there, I'm Tara Kestner. Welcome to this yin with a little bit of yang yoga class. We're slowing it down a little bit for this class. This is a great one to do if you're coming off a cold or if you had a hard workout already. Gonna stretch it out and slow it down. If you like it, let us know by clicking that little thumbs up button, or maybe make a comment or share, or better yet, subscribe to the channel by clicking that little red box below. Let's get started. This class is going to start out on your back, so go ahead and stretch out and get comfortable. Now, you can have your legs long, or you can bend your knees, or you can do one of both. I don't really care. I just want you to be comfortable. Once you're settled in, go ahead and close down your eyes. And we'll begin today by gently rocking the head from side to side. The purpose of this is twofold. One, to loosen those neck muscles, but two, to send the message to your brain that the weight of your head is supported by the floor and the neck muscles can let go. And take a nice slow breath in. And as you exhale, soften your face, unclench your jaw, unfurrow your brow, and loosen your throat. And then move your attention down to your shoulders and lift your shoulders up and off the ground and slowly and purposefully lay them back down, thinking broad across the collarbones, open through the chest with the shoulders relaxed down and back. Take another slow breath in. And this time, as you exhale, let your hands and your arms be really heavy. You don't need them right now, so just let them go. Begin to move your attention down your spine, into your low back and your hips, and very subtly rock your hips, loosening that area, letting the brain know the base of the spine is supported by the floor. And take another slow breath in. And this time, as you exhale, soften your belly. Allow your belly button to sink down into your spine. Let your low back kind of glue itself to the mat. And then begin to move your attention down your legs, through your thighs, through your knees, all the way to your feet. And find that spot where your feet and the floor come together. If your knees are bent, wiggle your toes. If your legs are straight, wave your feet a few times. And then take one last slow breath in. As you exhale this time, let the legs be really heavy. Let them turn off. If your legs are straight, let your toes drop open. If your knees are bent, let your knees drop towards one another. And be still. And start to take your attention to your breath. Notice the breath as it comes in and as it goes out. Make the conscious choice to slow your breath down. Maybe you do that by slowing down that inhale. Maybe you pause just a little bit longer between the inhale and the exhale. Or maybe you exaggerate that exhale by blowing the air out like you're blowing out a candle. Maybe you use a combination of those three. Whatever you have to do to slow the breath. And the next time that you inhale, silently say to yourself, inhale 1, exhale 2. Inhale, 3. Exhale, 4. And continue on until you get to 12. When you eventually make it to 12, let your breath go back to its normal pace. Its normal rhythm and its normal depth. And start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and gently rock your head. Trying to bring awareness back into your body. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and open up your eyes. We're going to start today with our first yin pose, banana pose, full body side stretch. Slide the feet over to the right. Lift the left foot up and cross the feet at the ankles. Leaving the hips where they are, and work the shoulders over to the right as well. You'll feel the stretch build up the left side of the body. When you're ready, extend your arms up over your head. Reach, reach, reach. Rock your head a few times. Make sure your neck is comfortable. And you can take a hold of that left arm at the wrist, the forearm, or the elbow, wherever it feels good to you. And then close your eyes. Allow your body to just mold itself into this shape. Don't try to force anything. Just try to be still. Nothing moves but your breath. So you can be very conscious of the breath coming into the left ribs. One more breath here. As you finish that breath, we'll unpack this pose from top to bottom. So start by bringing your hands down to rest on your belly. And bring your head, neck, and shoulders back into the center. And then uncross your ankles, slide your feet over to the left. We'll build from bottom to top. Lift up the right foot, cross at the ankles, keeping the hips somewhat where they are. Inch the shoulders over to the left. When that's all set, when you've found that edge of your resistance, go ahead and stretch the arms up and overhead. Checking in with your neck, make sure it's not crimped. And then take a hold of that right arm with the left hand. Start to soften into this position. And you've got this big stretch going on, but you just acknowledge for 1 second the full support of the floor under your body. There's no reason to grip So just ease into it. And take one more breath here. And then we'll start to deconstruct. Bring the hands down to rest on the belly. Moving the head, neck, and shoulders back into the center. This time bend the knees. Walk the feet up on the mat. Bringing the heels in as close to your glute as you can get them. Glutes, plural. And then begin to drop the arms out to the sides. Just let them drop off like heavy weights. Begin to tuck your tail under and lift the hips away from the floor. And then slowly bring it back down. Let's do that again. As you tuck the tail under and you lift the hips, you'll first feel it in the quads, and then you'll have to lift a little higher by engaging your glutes. Feel all those muscles squeeze and then slowly bring them back down. One more time in this bridge, tuck the tail under. Now as you inhale, lift the hips up. Pause at the top, and with the exhale, bring it back down. Let's add the arms this time. So as you inhale, tuck the tail under, lift the hips, reach the hands for the ceiling, and then let them float up and over your head. And then exhale, bring it all back down. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, scoop the tail, lift the hips, reach the arms up, pause, and then massage out the entire back as you bring it all back down on the exhale. One more time, inhale up. Exhale down. Go ahead and hug the knees in and rock from side to side if that feels good, or if you prefer, lift the feet, hands to the backs of the thighs, lift the head, and rock up and down on the vertical line of the spine. And after a few of those rocks, either rock your way up to seated or come onto your side and press your way up. One way or another, find your way up to the top of the mat in a seated position, and then we're going to come over and on to our bellies. So as you do, lower on down, grab opposite elbows, rest your head down on your forearms, and rock your hips out a little bit. And as you do that, untuck your toes, move your feet over to the edges of the mat, still on the mat, but right at the edge. And we'll start this Sphinx position by lifting your face. And then we're going to walk the elbows back and see how that feels on the low back. If you don't have any issues with your low back, then go ahead and walk the elbows in a little further. The higher the shoulders come, the greater the compression is in the low spine. That's true, but you're also getting the stretch in the front of the body. If you're able to get your elbows all the way under, you can bring your hands, pressing them into the mat, or you can press them into one another. I find that to be a little easier on the wrists. Once you've settled in there, begin to lift and lower your chin, trying to find some neutrality in your neck. And once you're there, go ahead and close your eyes. Now take your focus back to your breath. And as you inhale, feel your belly press into the mat as it fills with air. And then take your attention to your low back as you exhale, and try to get your glutes to let go. They have a tendency to clench when they think the low back is in peril. So let's try to let them go. If you really feel stuck in your low back, you might try waving your heels a few times, rocking out your feet, and that might send the message to your back that it's okay to let go. And settle in here. Sphinx pose is the antidote to everyday living, where we spend most of our time in the opposite position, hunched forward, head down, shoulders rolled forward. This opens up the chest. It opens up the anterior part of the spine, the part that's close to the internal organs. And we're going to stay here for another breath. And if you're okay here, and this is as much as you want to do today, you're going to stay here. But if you'd like a little more, if you feel like your edge is a little further away, then we're going to move into what's called seal pose in yin yoga. So we'll begin by taking the feet a little wider than the mat. And then bringing the hands out beside the upper corners of the mat. And begin to lift your elbows as you gently straighten out your arms. Finding your way in here. Now you've got a lot more intensity in the low back, but you also have a lot more expansion in the front of the body. So try to focus on that if you can. And if your edge is here, you'll stay right here. But if your edge isn't, if you're not quite there, you can walk the hands in further and come up higher. So wherever it is for you, seek out that neutrality in your neck. And we're here for another 30 seconds. Just settle in and breathe. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, gently lower back down, being kind to your back, moving slowly, supporting yourself with your arms. Bring your hands in next to your chest, and very slowly and gently push yourself off the ground. Don't move quickly here. Walk your knees up and under you. Come down onto your forearms. Let your head drop and begin to shift your hips back towards your heels. You do not have to come into a full-on child's pose here, especially if the quads are still a little tight. We just want to allow the low spine to decompress. The opposite, the counterbalance to that compression that we created in that Sphinx and seal pose. You may find as you're here, your hips slowly settle themselves towards your heels, or maybe they don't. It's okay either way. Let's take one last breath here as we melt in. And then start to lift your face. Start to walk your hands back towards you. And take your knees a little wider, as wide as they'll go and still be considered on that mat. And then left hand to the mat, sweep the right arm out to the side, open up the front of the chest, and with a slow exhale, sweep that arm down, reach it behind your left arm and lower down onto your right shoulder and ear. Make a fist with your left hand and place it under your head. So you've got a little height above the mat. And gently wiggle that right shoulder, bringing your awareness to that space between your shoulder blade and your spine. Now options, you can stay right here. I think this is a nice stretch and I like it. But if you want to go a little deeper, rest your head down on the mat Work your hand a little closer to the top of the mat, leaving your forearm to rest on the floor. Third option, bring your left hand to your left thigh, create some support for that left shoulder, and maybe you can reach in a little more with that right hand. Wherever you want to stay, just close your eyes and breathe. There are 3 basic principles in Yin Yoga, and the first one is finding that edge, finding that position that works for you. And it may be different than anybody else. It doesn't matter. It matters how it feels, not how it looks. And take one more breath here. Start to make your way out. Bring yourself back to center. Leave your right hand on the mat. And sweep your left arm out. Open up the front of that chest and then sweep it down and through. Lower down, taking the time to make that fist rest your head on it. Everybody, I always see people skipping this step, but it's really important to bring your awareness to that left shoulder before you settle in. So wiggle that left shoulder around a little bit. And then go and find your edge. Maybe dropping your head to the mat. Or maybe you bring your right hand up onto your thigh and you reach in a little more. You get a little more twist out of the shoulder. And you settle in. And once you've found that spot, just close your eyes. Second principle of Yin Yoga is stillness. So just find that stillness. We'll take one last breath here. As you finish that breath, begin to make your way back to center. All right, I don't know about you, but my feet are asleep. So let's try to wake them up. So coming up to all fours, lift your feet up, wiggle your toes, roll the ankles around, a little snap, crackle, pop. When you feel like you're on speaking terms with your feet again, go ahead and drop them down. Let's drop the belly, lift the face, cow pose. Bringing the knees in underneath you if you haven't already. And then as you exhale, round out that spine, bring your chin towards your chest, tuck your tail, and gently push the mat away. Inhale to cow pose. Exhale to cat, blow it out. One more like that. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. And back to that neutral spine, flat back. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees up. Drop your head and then let your hips continue on up to downward facing dog. And just pedal out the heels here a little bit, still waking up the feet and the calves and the ankles, a little attention, and then we'll start to shuffle the feet forward, bringing the knees up and under your belly. Letting your ribs perch themselves on the top of your thigh. Feet are about hip distance apart. So it's as if you're sitting in a chair and looking under that chair. And then you can be still here in ragdoll, or you can grab opposite elbows, or you can sway from side to side. And if you want just a little extra, you can bring those arms around the outer edges of your shins. Get into those QL muscles, the sides of the low back. Drop your head in case you've lifted it. So often we want to lift our head to look out of our peripheral vision. So bring your chin towards your chest here. And eventually you'll start to fade the momentum on that sway. Don't stop abruptly. Instead, just slow it down until you're just hanging over your legs. And then drop the hands if they're lifted. Begin to drag the fingers up the fronts of the legs. Bring your chin into your chest and slowly begin to bring yourself up to standing. The head's going to come up last. The shoulders are rolled forward and down. As you become more vertical, lift your shoulders into your ears. And then as you lift your head, roll your shoulders back and down. Loosening that up a little bit. Nice loose spine and shoulders. And we're standing with our feet about hip distance apart. We're going to start to move just a little bit before we go into the lower body. So drop the hands down and back. Turn the palms out to the side. Lift the center of your chest, and with an inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands down the center line. Let's do that again. Inhale, sweep it up all the way through the range of motion of the shoulders. And on the exhale, bring it down. One more like that, and then we'll add on. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. This time, pause at the top. Press the palms together, and as you exhale, lean to your left. Feel that big stretch up that left side or right side. Inhale to the center, and exhale to your right. And inhale back to the center. Now let your hands separate. Lift the center of your chest. Lift your front ribs out of the waistband of your pants. And let your arms do whatever they want to do. A little gentle back bend. Then we'll inhale it back up, pressing those palms together. And exhale, bring it down the center line. Let's put all that together. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, center. As you exhale, a little back bend. Back to the inhale on the reach. Exhale, bring it down one more time, and then we'll add a little more. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, center. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach. This time, press the palms together, bend the knees, hinge forward at the waist, and bring your hands all the way down to the floor. Pausing to drop your head. And then as you inhale, slide your hands up the fronts of your legs until you can get your legs straight. That might be at the ankle, that might be at the knee, that might be with your hands on your thighs before your legs will get straight. But it's your halfway lift, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters what it feels like. Full extension in the backs of the legs. Now rebend your knees and slide back into that forward fold, dropping your head. Walk your hands out in front of your feet. Steady yourself there and step back into downward facing dog. With a big, slow inhale, come into plank, top of a push-up. Hinge the shoulders forward, right over the wrists. Lift your face, look beyond your mat. Push through your heels, take a breath in. And as you exhale, bend your elbows and lower yourself to the ground. No flopping. Untuck your toes. And with an inhale breath, cobra pose. Begin to peel the chest off the mat. You can stay with a low cobra, or you can come a little higher if you feel a little looser after that Sphinx pose, coming into a high cobra. And then lower it back down when you let the air go. Now lift your feet up. Reverse push-up. Push yourself up and off the mat. Engage those tricep muscles. Drop your feet. Drop your head. Tuck your toes under. And with an inhale, downward facing dog. Let's lift the left leg up behind us. And roll that ankle a little bit. Maybe bend that knee and open up that hip if that feels good. And then we'll swing the knee towards the chest. Step the foot onto the mat. Come up on your fingertips and gently shift forward and back. Just loosening and limbering that front knee. Bending and straightening it. And when that feels done, step or drag that back foot up. Sit your butt back and down. Once again, ribs are perching on top of the thighs. Start to lift your face. Start to reach out. Chair pose, kind of an aggressive one. Just feel that squeeze in the muscles. We're not staying long. Slowly straighten your legs. Drop your hands back to that flow. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, center. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach it up. Press the palms. Exhale, dive to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step it back to downward facing dog. And with a big slow inhale, bring yourself into plank. Lift your face, press through your heels. As you exhale, lower down onto your belly, untuck your toes. With one more inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, lower down. Lift your feet. Reverse push up. Drop the feet, drop your head. Inhale, downward facing dog. Blow it out here. As you inhale, lift that right leg up behind you, roll the ankle or maybe bend your knee and open up your hip. And then swing the knee in, step the foot down, shift it forward and back. When you're ready, step or drag that back foot up, sit your butt back and down, let your ribs rest on the tops of your thighs as you lift your face and you reach out into that chair pose. Feel those muscles engage, squeeze, and then slowly straighten the legs, drop the hands, sweep the arms up overhead. Inhale. Press the palms together and bring the thumbs down in front of the chest. As you do, lift your elbows and lift your chest to meet your thumbs, engaging the low back. Lift your chin and take one breath here in this isometric tension. As you exhale, lower your elbows, relax your ribs. Drop your hands, one more sweep of the arms up overhead. This time, pause to bend your knees, turn your palms out, and with a long, flat back, swan dive down to the floor. From here, we'll walk the feet back, lower down onto the knees, back to all fours. You're going to head into yin poses for the lower body, but as we do, we'll start by extending the right leg out behind us, bending the knee and lifting the face. Take a breath in. As you exhale, swing that knee towards your nose as you drop your nose towards your knee. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, swing it in. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, bring it in. And this time we'll step the foot up in between the hands. Help it out with the right hand there. And if you have a hard floor underneath you, I recommend you take the left edge of your mat and fold it in and give your kneecap a little bit of extra padding. So let's engage in this dragon pose. Dragon pose is a little different from a lunge in that we're going to allow the knee to come forward in front of the ankle, which is generally a no-no in a lunge. You want to feel a little engagement back here in the Achilles tendon, and you want to drag that back knee forward just a little bit to really get that full extension in that hip flexor. You stay here kind of pitched forward in the upper body until you feel that engagement. Once you do, now we'll engage the intensity in the hip flexor by bringing the shoulders higher. Maybe it's just one forearm, maybe it's both forearms today. But settle into what you can hold on to. Find your edge. Become still. The third principle is the easy one. It's the passage of time. So we're here for a whole minute. We're already 15 seconds into that. So just continue to lean forward, gently lifting up, supporting yourself with your arms in any way that you feel is appropriate. And breathe. And one more breath here. As you exhale, slowly back out of this. Bring yourself back down into all fours, releasing the mat from under your left knee. And we'll take that on to the other side. So extend the left leg out behind you, bend your knee, lift your face, and take a breath in. As you exhale, swing the knee in. As you inhale, kick it back up. Exhale, swing it in. One more. Inhale up. Exhale in. We'll step that left foot up and through. Work the toes forward. Take a second to fold the right edge of your mat under. And then pitch your body forward. As you drag that back knee along a little bit, then take your attention to your left heel. When you feel the heel start to lift, that's the engagement in the Achilles tendon you're looking for. We'll stay there. And then start to adjust the intensity on the hip flexor by bringing the shoulders up to the height that feels manageable to you. And then you just settle in and be still, which can be harder than you think sometimes. One more breath here. As you finish that breath, you're going to bring yourself out and back through all fours. And have a seat on your mat with your feet near the top of your mat, I guess you call it. And then a little trick to get the hips up without any props, because I'm used to teaching classes where there are no props. So look back at the back edge of your mat and begin to roll it back, roll it in towards you. And then you're going to sit up on that mat, right on the edge of it. And then you just want the edge of your butt on the mat. You don't want to be sitting fully on it. Imagine your tailbone is a ducktail, and that mat is just filling in the space between your tailbone and the floor. So it's giving you the support that you need to tip your pelvis forward. Then we're going to take the feet a little wider than the mat. It doesn't have to be crazy. It should be about where you start to feel the femur bones engage in the outer hip socket, or in the outer part of the hip socket. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. Sit up tall, nice flat back, and just hinge forward. Now you want your feet gently flexed to keep the knees pointed at the ceiling, but you don't have to engage the calf muscles if you don't want to. We're pulling the hamstrings back so they're engaged at the top. And if you want more engagement in your hamstrings, you can flex your feet and also engage in the lower part of the hamstring, so the muscle is being pulled in both directions. That's up to you. But go ahead and settle in at your edge. Don't worry about where you start. I'm going to give you a 30-second cue, and we're going to see if maybe we can go in a little further. So just support your upper body with your hands, wherever that may be. And settle in here and be still. Now let's see if anything has changed since we started. So take a nice slow breath in. And just as you exhale, lean forward a little bit. Don't think about it. Just kind of melt in and notice if anything shifted. Now let's try that again. Take a slow breath in. And as you exhale, lean forward. See if the edge moved. One last breath here. Make it a good one. Make it nice and slow. Maybe 8 counts in, 8 counts out. And begin to lift up out of that. And then we got to bend the knees. Sometimes they don't want to bend on their own, so give them a little help with the hands. Bring the feet onto the mat, your hands behind you, and gently massage out the outer hip by rocking the knees from side to side. All right, when that feels done, I'm going to sit all the way on the mat now, so you can bring it under your sits bones. Bring the soles of your feet together. Sitting up tall. Now, as we kept a flat back before, we're going to allow the spine to round in this variation. So butterfly pose. You can bring your feet in tight if you like that, but it's absolutely not necessary. A soft diamond shape in the legs works just as well, especially if you have really tight hip flexors. So imagine there's a seat belt holding you here and you're draping your body forward. And then find a way to support your upper body. So maybe your elbows are up here and maybe you're just going to bring your hands to your head here. Maybe your elbows can come onto your shins and you'll find a way to rest your head here, or you'll make a fist. I like to call this crisis mode. So just settle in here. Find your edge. I'll give you a halfway cue, so maybe you'll settle in a little further. But just close your eyes. Become still and just let the time pass. So we're halfway done. Let's take a breath in and see if that edge moved. See if you lean forward a little more. And then just settle in there, find support for your head. Close your eyes and be still. You have one more breath here. As you empty out from that breath, go ahead and sit on up. Stretch the legs out. Shake them out a little bit. And then we'll come on to our backs. So come off that mat, roll it back out. Come on to your back. Hug your knees in. Give them a little rock from side to side. And then lift up your left leg. Interlace your fingers behind that thigh and drop that left foot down. Now stretch the right leg out long. Hug that left thigh into your rib. Lift your chest and readjust your shoulder blades under you so you can comfortably lie here. And then close down your eyes. And with each breath, on each exhale, let go of that right leg. Just think, let it go, let it go, let it go, each time you exhale. And the reason for this is to let go and let the weight of the muscles and the bones of that right leg gently pull that femur bone out of the socket. But you've got to disengage the muscles, which is why we're using that breathing technique to try to let go. One more breath here. And as you finish that breath, drop your left arm out to the side with your palm facing up. Use your right hand to guide your knee across your belly and then roll onto that right hip, taking the time to scooch up onto your right hip a little bit so you're more on your right side and you're a little more comfortable and you're not just halfway between two poses. You can let your foot even rest back down on your thigh or your knee. And just your right hand is a heavy weight. It just sits on the outside of that knee. Now look at your left arm and see if your left forearm is still in contact with the floor or is it hovering. If it's hovering, lower your arm so there's contact with the floor. And if you're able to, you can slide that arm up to shoulder height for optimal stretching position. Once you've figured out where your left arm is going to anchor to the floor, rock your head to the right. Close your eyes. Focus on that space between your left ear and your left shoulder. If you need an active cue, think of this. Each time you exhale, sink that left shoulder blade into the mat. One more breath here. When you finish that breath, begin to roll onto your back. Bend your right knee, bring your foot onto the mat. Place your left ankle on your right knee. Now reach down and guide your legs closer. Recline figure four. Once again, adjusting the shoulder blades under you. And find a way to hold on here. Maybe it's one hand on the outside of each thigh. Maybe you interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. I've seen people interlace behind the left thigh or just hold on to this bridging shin bone. Whatever works for you. Make sure you're dropping that right foot. Maybe roll that ankle a little bit. Just tell it to let go. Recline figure four. Once you're settled in here, close your eyes. Go back to focusing on your breath. And each time that you exhale, let your belly button sink into your spine. Or think of it as softening your belly. And take one more breath in this position. And let it go. Let your foot come down to the mat, both feet on the mat. Sway the knees a few times from side to side. And we'll do all that on the other side. So bring the knees in. Lift the right foot up. Interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. Drop that foot back down. Hug that knee into your rib. As you extend that left leg out long and lower it to the ground. And it's okay if your knee has a bend in it here. It's okay if it isn't perfectly straight. If you need to let your knee drop open a little bit, but settle in. And start to breathe that left leg away. With each exhale, let that left leg become very heavy. Let it go. And we'll take one last breath here. Let that left leg go one more time. Then drop the right arm out to the side, palm facing up. Left hand's going to guide the knee across your body. And then scooch to the left, bring that hip underneath you. And the knee across. Take a look at that right arm, adjust it, make sure that it's in contact with the floor. If you can get it to shoulder height, fantastic. If you can't, don't sweat it. And then rock your head, look away. Looking in the same direction that the knee is going, close your eyes and start to breathe that right shoulder open. With each exhale, sinking your shoulder blade into the mat. One more slow breath here. And as you finish that breath, begin to roll back onto your back. Bend that left knee. Bring your foot up onto the mat. Rest your ankle on your knee. And we'll head to that reclined figure 4, guiding the legs up closer to your body. Taking a second to lift your chest, adjust your shoulder blades, and then you can reach your left hand through and interlace your fingers behind the thigh, or you can hold on to the right thigh or both thighs, or however you want to be here. Relax that left foot. And once you've settled, close your eyes. And begin to soften the belly with each exhale. One more really slow breath here. This exhale, let that right knee drift away. And we're going to let it go. Bring the feet to the mat. Both feet on the mat this time. Sway the knees from side to side. And then start to reach your arms up and overhead. Start to stretch your legs out long. Reach through your fingers, reach through your toes. One big breath here. And on the exhale, bring it on down. Bring the hands down, either resting on the belly or drop them out to the side. You can keep your legs long, or you can bend your knees and bring them in towards each other. Rock your hips a little bit. Lift your chest and adjust your shoulder blades under you. Final relaxation. Close your eyes. And one more time, come to that stillness. Just let all that you've done in the last hour wash over your body. And start to deepen your breath. Bring in just a little more air. And blow it out softly with a quiet little sigh to yourself. Begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And gently rock your head from side to side. Go ahead and bend your knees if they're not already. Walk your feet up onto the mat and sway your knees gently, massaging out that low spine. And the next time the knees go to the right, roll to the right. Come onto your right side and just stay here for a breath or two. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and press yourself on up to a comfortable seated position. Run the hands together, release the fingers, stretch the arms out long, lower your chin into your chest, take one breath into your back ribs. As you exhale, release. Swing your hands around behind, fingertips to the ground behind you. Lift the center of your chest, press the floor away. One breath into the center of the chest. As you exhale, let it go. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Reach up, look up. Press the palms, bring the hands down in front of your chest. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.